Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. I am very glad you're here today. And my name's Karen Menti. I am one of the librarians here at UAGC. I work out of San Diego, but I support students all over the country, including all of you joining here today. And today we're diving into a topic that's becoming a really big part of academic life and all walks of life every single day. And we're talking about generative AI tools that can support your independent research. And my goal here today is to help you feel more confident and more empowered using these tools and really just understand better how to use them responsibly, not using them to replace your thinking, but to enhance it and push it further. And of course, the library is here to help you every step of the way. Now, before we jump in, I'd just love to get a sense of who's in the room. Go ahead, drop your first name, your current course or program, and where you're joining us from today, just so we can connect a little bit. And I'm also going to launch a quick poll here just to see where you might be with your experience level with AI tools. So let me go ahead and launch that poll for you. We'll take a few minutes. And the poll's just asking you, where are you at right now with AI tools? Maybe you're brand new to this whole AI thing. Maybe you've played around with a tool like ChatGPT or one of the others. Maybe some of you might already be feeling pretty comfortable. And all of these answers are okay. Wherever you are on that spectrum, this session is designed to meet you there. We are in a judgment-free zone. You don't need to be an expert. You just have to come with a little curiosity. And that being said, I have a real disclaimer here. I am not an expert in AI. Everything changes so rapidly. I am just learning right along with you all. It is a topic that I really love to learn about. And I really love this webinar because we get a lot of good questions. And, everything is not so easy. There's a lot of nuance. It's not always cut and dry. So we're all just here to kind of learn together and share what we do know about AI. So let's take a look at our poll. And this is fantastic. Okay, it seems like, and it's funny, we've been doing this webinar for a few years now, and the numbers are definitely shifting. A lot more of us are getting a little bit more experience playing around with these tools, a little more comfortable using them. So that is fantastic. I'm going to share the results with you now. Definitely, we are all in a similar space of just being a little bit comfortable with them or more familiar, using them in lots of different ways. So that's fantastic. Now, let me move on. Just a few kind of housekeeping notes. We are recording this presentation. So please, kindly keep your microphone muted unless you have something to say, just so we don't pick up on background noise. That said, if you do have something to say, please feel free to jump in with your questions or comments at any point, either in the chat or on the microphone. We will have a dedicated question and answer session at the end. So, but we'll also be giving lots of opportunities for you to ask questions along the way or share your thoughts. And that being said, 2 lucky audience members today will be randomly selected to win UAGC swag. So all the more reason to not be shy and use that chat box or jump on the microphone if you have the will and are able to. So, let's see. So here's what we're going to talk about today, hopefully, that we will accomplish. We can talk about what generative AI can and cannot do. Both of those are important. Understanding these boundaries is going to be our key to using it responsibly as a tool to support our learning. Next, I want to show you a few AI-powered tools that are already built right into the UAGC library. These tools are designed to make your research process smoother and more efficient. And we're also going to explore the ways to use AI to support your academic research outside of the library without crossing into any academic integrity issues. And to make that a little bit more concrete, we're going to walk through just some case studies together of how students might use these tools And hopefully by the end of the session, you should feel more confident navigating AI and knowing when and how to use them effectively. Okay, so before we get started, let's warm up with something fun. And I'm going to take a peek at the chat. Uh, what are some creative or helpful ways that maybe you're already using generative AI? And this could be something you use for school, maybe in your jobs already, or even in your personal life. Maybe you've used it to plan a trip or rewrite an email to your boss or to help you understand a tough concept. So go ahead. I just honestly love to hear all the amazing ways people are finding to use these tools. And one of our biggest strengths with AI is that it can help you sometimes think in different ways or get unstuck or make a decision about something. Um, and sometimes the most unexpected uses turn out to be the most helpful. So let's see. I love it. You guys have used it lots of different ways. I'm seeing brainstorming. I'm thinking of it as an extra brain. That's helpful. Yes, rewriting resumes. It's huge with saving time when you're on the job market for sure. Tailoring those cover letters and let's see. Oh, for art. Cool. And homeschooling. Oh, I bet it's a big help with homeschooling, coloring books. That's neat. Yes, rewriting emails, always helpful, professional documents. Sometimes you write something and you're like, what is my tone here? How can I soften this up a little bit? Ooh, trying new hairstyles. I love that. Helping with financial planning, dating apps. I love it. Using for work and oncology drugs. Interesting. Starting a business. I love it. Yeah. So already you guys are finding ways to really make it more of a collaborator, someone, not, well, something, not someone. Always good to remember. It's not a real person. But yes, yeah, finding ways that it can really enhance just our creative processes. That's awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about this AI, as you've probably noticed, it's everywhere. It's in your search engines. It's in your, anytime you do a Google search, you don't get links anymore. You get this AI overview that you have to kind of parse through and decide, is this something to trust? It's in your streaming music. You have an AI DJ now. It's in social media. Lots of things you see, and you have to go back and scroll and say, what is going on here? Um, it's productivity tools at work, it's customer service chatbots, and it's more. And it's changing incredibly fast, as we all know. So that's why we're learning how to use it responsibly. We want to set ourselves up for success, not just in our academic work, but in our career as well. As we know, employers are increasingly expecting people to know how to work alongside these AI tools and really navigate this whole new world of AI that we're confronted with. So this slide is really important. AI is a tool. It's not a thinker. So it's good at some things. It can generate text, images, music, and more of these things just by recognizing patterns in language. It's fast, it's very confident, often very affirming, very positive, and it can help us brainstorm or organize our thoughts. But of course, here is what it is not. It is not capable of judgment or nuance or original thought. It's not automatically accurate. Sometimes it gets lucky, right? But it's definitely not a reliable expert. And, let's be honest, we don't have to look too hard to find examples of problems with AI. Maybe you've seen some of the viral videos on social media. My favorite one is users who are asking ChatGPT for a recommended route to take to get to a car wash that's less than a mile away from their house. And of course, the joke is AI suggests that they walk to the car wash if it's a nice day out. And that's just an example of some of the nuance, the context that AI is clearly missing. Why would you walk to a car wash? There's absolutely no point. You wouldn't have your car. So when you use AI, just remember to think of it like a calculator for language. It's definitely powerful, but it's not It's not capable of these individual judgments or context. Your critical thinking is still the most important piece of the process. It's only as good as the person using it and the prompts that you choose to prompt it with. So now, just in case, this is all very new to some of us, this slide is just meant to give a really simple way of understanding what's happening inside a large language model or an LLM. And these are the underlying systems that power tools like ChatGPT or Gemini. So when you type something like, I'm craving chocolate, what should I bake? The model isn't actually thinking about your abilities in the kitchen or your preferences. It has no knowledge of anything. It can only predict a likely next response based on its training on these extremely huge collections of text to learn how words relate to one another. So, what it is doing is scanning its internal patterns, patterns that are built from millions of examples of how we talk about baking and chocolate, how people everywhere talk about baking and chocolate. And in those examples, words like brownies or cupcakes, all the delicious things tend to show up together. So the model predicts that the most helpful next step is to suggest something like that. Now, this is the core idea. LLMs, they don't reason, they don't understand your preferences, and they don't have opinions. They're just predicting the next most likely useful thing to say. And once we understand that, it becomes easier to use AI in a responsible way because we know what it's actually doing and, more importantly, what it's not doing. So now here's where things get interesting is when we follow up with something like, yeah, brownies would be great, but I only have 10 minutes. Then the model can adjust. And that's what makes it really more conversational. It doesn't remember you personally, but it does use the context of the context of the conversation to update its prediction. So now, instead of suggesting brownies again, it looks for other patterns connected to chocolate in its trained languages, and chocolate and baking that might not take a lot of time, like one of those quick chocolate mug cakes in the microwave. Has anyone ever tried one of those? I haven't tried it yet, but I want to. Looks quick and easy. So anyway, this is an example of how conversational AI works. It's not thinking about you, but it is responding to the flow of your conversation. And this is exactly why your prompts matter so much. The clearer and the more specific you are, the more useful the model's predictions are going to become. So understanding this will help you stay in control of the tool. You're the one guiding the tool. It's not the other way around. Now, of course, we have touched on it a little bit, but there are major risks to using AI, misinformation, privacy concerns, all these things that I'm sure a lot of us are very familiar with. Most importantly, academic integrity issues, serious consequences at school or in the workplace for misusing these tools, and really just the danger of becoming overly reliant on AI. College research and writing, it's challenging stuff, but it's challenging because we're taking in a lot of new information and we're just learning how to interact with it and think critically about it. That is the experience that we're here for in college. So there's really no shortcuts to learning. And we all have our one unique voice that should be shared. No one else in the whole world can approach a topic from your exact perspective. So accept no limitations. And also, just over relying on tools makes us lose these important skills of critical thinking. For example, I'll offer myself, I have an over reliance 100% on my GPS in my phone to drive anywhere. And now I can tell I'm not as good at just navigating the streets as I once was. I'm consciously trying to break myself of that habit because I definitely have become over reliant on GPS. And that's something that we all have to work against, becoming over reliant on these tools as they become so ubiquitous. So I just shared a couple links here beyond the viral videos we've talked about, poking holes in AI logic. We're slowly now beginning to see some of the real impacts of AI use, scientifically measured. Here are two recent studies that look at dependence and reliance on AI tools. This first one is talking about AI systems and the sycophantic behavior, or the behavior that's overly agreeing with you or validating you, which of course users love. Like, yeah, I'm always right. My ChatGPT thinks I'm amazing. But this affirmation can really reinforce poor judgment and reduce willingness to take responsibility or resolve conflicts. That's what they've measured in this study. And the second study shows that students often over rely on AI by accepting incorrect outputs without that critical evaluation piece, which can lead to flawed problem solving and just weakened learning outcomes overall. So those are just food for thought while we move on. So, all of this just to say, if you're going to use AI to support your research and learning, which we will talk about the practical ways you can do that, but it's really important to develop a moral compass as you do to help guide you when you're using it. You need to keep things in mind like, always validating everything, always engage with it as a tool, iterate on your own prompts. That will really help your critical thinking process and your cognitive process. So you're not just using it passively. Don't copy and paste anything that AI provides you with. And ask yourself whether AI is even a good tool to use for this task that you're doing. Always make sure your own thinking and your own voice are leading the way. Maybe consider what you're giving up by using AI for whatever task that you're doing. Just being more thoughtful about what the task is that you're using it for can help you figure out where that line is. But we do want you to be empowered to use it to get started with your research or to push your research further. But just make sure you're always doing independent research and writing for your final product. And this is my chance to remind you that if the process ever does get too hard for you, because it will, it is a hard thing to read, to research, and write at the college level. Just remember you're never alone in the research process. You can talk to your instructor, you can connect with a tutor, you can submit your paper for paper review, or you can reach out anytime to the library or writing center. We are real human beings ready to help you. So if you're ever unsure whether something is appropriate, especially when it comes to AI, please ask us. We're all here to help you succeed. And so we're going to drop in the chat a couple resources that they're good to bookmark and just have in your back pocket for those times that it really does get hard about with your research and writing. These can help remind you where to find help.
Karen,
Okay, so with
when you have a chance, there is a student that's wondering if you can put in the chat the links to those articles as well that you were referring to when you have a
Oh,
moment.
sure.
I don't
Yeah.
have access to the DAT girls. I would. Sorry.
I think Anna's got, oh, that's
Oh,
okay.
cool.
Anna, I don't know if I'll drop them in the chat for sure in a moment. But thank you. Thanks for asking for those. I should have shared them already. Um, so let me real quick, because I want to make sure we have plenty of time for questions at the end. Let me make sure I'm sharing my library screen. What I want to do is take you now through a little demo of some AI tools that are already built into the library. Real quick, any other questions? Because I am going to pivot kind of away from the more theory of AI tools into more practical AI tools. So just want to pause for a moment in case anybody else has questions. Okay. Well, Anna's shared a link in the chat about what artificial tools are already there in the library, but I do, while I have you here, just kind of want to walk you through a few. We'll just spend about 10 minutes here. And you should be seeing the library one search box here. Now, I want to talk about these tools that are already built into our biggest databases in the library. One that you've probably already interacted with if you've used the library, and maybe you might not know that it's even there, and that's our natural language search feature that's now available in Library OneSearch. And Library OneSearch and EBSCO, you might hear us talk about the EBSCO database. It's actually the database that powers our Library OneSearch. So those are a little bit interchangeable. But we have this new feature called the new natural language search feature. And what it means, for decades now, libraries have used keyword searching as their main way of pulling up articles, research articles in their databases. And a keyword search is really just taking your concepts, your research concepts, and breaking them into smaller keywords that the database can then process and retrieve results based on your topic. That's not the way, of course, that Google works. Google works with natural language searching, where you can just type any natural question that might come up into the search box and it will find results. Whether they are relevant or not, it will give you a lot of results. And for the most part, they're pretty relevant. But we have this new feature in the Library One Search and in EBSCO that allows you to search the library the way that you might search in Google. So an example of that, let's take a natural language question like, what are possible impacts of cell phone bans in schools? So, if I typed this in a year ago, before this natural language feature was around, I would not get many results because the database couldn't digest natural language questions like this. It would say no results. It would be a frustrating experience for everyone. But now, thanks to this search feature here, the natural language search box, I can see I have over 23,000 results here. And so this is using AI to just take your natural language question and actually break it into keywords. So it's basically taking just the main concepts and it's adding synonyms and it's putting it together with these Boolean search terms that library databases really respond well to. And this is all library databases use keyword searching and Boolean search terms. And so anytime that you are searching in the library and you're not maybe finding the best results, you can always check. I encourage you to play around with this. Check and see if the natural language search feature is toggled on. You can always turn it off and you'll get different results. In this case, we actually get more results with it turned off, but I can tell you they're not very relevant. So with it turned on, you can look at show refined query, and that's where it's going to tell you exactly what the database is searching here. So then, this is a good way to build your list of keywords that you want to search for in the library. Maybe I jot some of these down, and then next I try an advanced search with the natural language feature turned off, but with some of those keywords involved. It's just different ways to search the library for your research topic and get different results. I mean, so much of the research process is honestly just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So just wanted to point that out. It's a feature that I know a lot of students really love because it's just a different way to search for your topic. But if you ever have questions, just remember you can reach out to a librarian. We can walk you through the whole search process, help you find keywords, help you find results, help you narrow and refine based on our filters. We don't have a ton of time today to get into all of the refining and filtering, but we're here to help if you have questions. So any questions about the natural language search feature before we move on to the Generate Insights AI feature? Okay, great. So play around with natural language search. Now you will see some opportunities here in your results. Sometimes you might see this the magic symbol. I don't know, it looks kind of like a crystal ball and AI Insights. And anytime you see that symbol, it means there's some AI being used here. And so all that AI Insights does, basically it's not using any outside information. It's just taking the full text from the article in your results and it's breaking it into these bulleted insights. This is a big time saver, obviously, when you're going through your pages of results, trying to see if one of these articles might be relevant to what you're reading. So this is just a little snapshot. It's a little bit easier to digest than the summary provided in the database that's been provided in the database. Um, I see a question. Yeah, the difference between the insights and the abstract. So the abstract is a summary that the authors put together. Those are written by humans. An abstract is just a summary written by the authors of the article to try and explain what the article is about. And a lot of the information in the insights comes from, rather than the abstract, it comes from the body of the article. So it's looking at the discussion part of your article, it's looking at the conclusions, it's looking at the methods that you used, and it's just breaking those down into bullet points. So yeah, it's a great way to just kind of get a snapshot about what the article is actually about. And of course, I appreciate any time where it provides a disclaimer. These are AI generated insights. You always want to go to the source. Don't trust the generative AI tools to give you the correct information. You can't trust them. This is just to see, okay, I do want to access the full text and find a quote from this author to pull into my writing. I would never quote one of these insights because, again, you can't trust it. It's just generative AI. So does that answer your question? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. So again, these are just some tools that you might be seeing pop up in the library. They're really helpful for saving yourself time as you go through the research process. And next, I want to show you, so we talked about, let me go back to the library homepage. So right now we've been talking about one of our biggest databases in the library, Library OneSearch and EDS. The nice thing about Library OneSearch is it actually pulls from most of our databases available in the library, including ProQuest. ProQuest is another one of our biggest databases for academic research. And ProQuest has its own set of tools, generative AI tools that you can learn about. And you can get to ProQuest through Library OneSearch if you happen to come across an article that is indexed in ProQuest. But for today's purposes and anytime, if you just want to try your search in ProQuest rather than Library OneSearch or EBSCO, you can go to Journal Articles. And this jumps to our list of all our many databases. And we have over 90 databases. So Library OneSearch is an efficient way to search most of your databases. But for these purposes, we want to go directly to ProQuest. And now I wanted to show you the ProQuest Research Assistant because it's also pretty cool. I'm going to type in a search here. I'm going to try organizational culture. And this is a keyword search, just to point out, I'm using keyword searching now. I'm breaking my research into keywords. So I'm looking for organizational culture and engagement. So, like how does a workplace culture keep employees engaged? That's kind of the gist of this hypothetical research question. Let's say I'm interested in scholarly journals. I'm going to limit my source here to scholarly journals because I was seeing some dissertations and things, which are fine, but not what I'm after today. And so now I've got this list of scholarly journal articles here. Now, if I want to look closer at any one of these articles, let's say this one, the role of organizational culture in managing organizational security. Now, if I open up this full text, over here on the right-hand side, I see, again, that little crystal ball research assistant. So what this is giving me is the key takeaway. Again, it's similar to the AI insights we saw in EBSCO, but there's a lot of cool features with this. It breaks it down into key takeaway. It tells you exactly why it's pulling this up based on my search terms. And I want to make this a little bigger because especially for the recording, you can kind of expand it to full screen. And what you can do now, there's even a chat box where you can really start to interact with this AI research assistant, and you can ask it for maybe you want to jump to the findings and conclusions. And it breaks it down the main findings of the document. It even provides quotes that it pulls from the document itself to explain how, the author's own words um, really, discuss these main findings. And so it provides quotes throughout. Let's say if maybe you're a more visual learner, maybe you're having a hard time figuring out how the engagement piece fits into the broader piece of organizational culture. Um, you can select visualize this document's topics, and it gives you kind of a little mind map to really understand the greater research landscape here. And this is a great place to pluck. Maybe you're doing a literature review, and now you have these keywords that are related, they're subtopics of organizational culture, but you can start to push it in different directions. Um, it gives you other research topics in the same thing. You can even ask it a question like, what are the gaps in the literature? Um, discussed in this article. And sometimes it takes a little while, just a warning. Especially if you like ask it a question, it takes time. It's analyzing a response, but it's just a really different way to, I love it. Mind blown. Yes, I agree. It's really fun to play around with. Um, and now it breaks down exactly what this article mentions are gaps. And again, I can't stress enough, don't take any information for granted provided here. Like, you always want to go to the source and interact with the actual author's writing. But this is just a quick time saver to figure out, is this worth my time? Do I want to read this article? Is this going to help me push my research further? So yeah, that's just another tool that you can explore there. Um, I love it. Inspect what you expect. That is fantastic. Um, so ProQuest is, like I said, another one of our biggest academic research databases, but they have another product, is ProQuest eBook Central. And that's one of our biggest databases for ebooks. And most likely you've used a textbook in your classes that are from eBook Central. It has a very similar research assistant to the one we just saw in ProQuest because they're the same company again. But just to show you real quick what the research assistant in eBook Central looks like, I'm going to go into eBook Central here and pull up an ebook. Let's see. Let's say our research topic now is on workplace bullying. I'm going to pick out, it looks like we have a lot of recent titles from 2024 on workplace bullying. And I just wanted to show you, it's very similar to the other tool we just saw, but let's say I'm doing research and I found this ebook on workplace bullying, and I want to jump into chapter 5 here on bullying and harassment, but I don't have a lot of time. This is a whole book chapter now. I don't know if I want to spend my time reading this whole chapter. Well, I look for, again, that crystal ball, and here I can open the research assistant, and similar to the other one, it just gives me this little side menu to work from. It gives me a description of the book overall, and then it gives me insights about specific chapters. Um, and I want insights on chapter 5, let's say, bullying and harassment. And it's working earlier. Okay. Oh, there we go. Show key takeaway from this chapter. Sometimes it can be a little bit buggy, but I think that was user error. And then it can break down the concepts of the chapter. And again, it's just pulling from the text in the PDF, but it's doing it in a way that makes it really easy for you to digest it and see if it's something that you want to investigate closer. You can even, a lot of times, it's hyperlinked so that if you want to, maybe I want to look a little bit deeper at cyberbullying instead. then you can click that and it'll automatically search the database for cyberbullying books. So again, just a quick way to use this tool to really expand your research. I love it. Better than Barnes and Noble. Can we get that on our I want that on my business card. So yeah, I really encourage you to check out these AI tools. And honestly, we are going to be seeing a lot more of this. These are features that our vendors are just putting into their databases. And a lot of times they ask us for feedback. So we love to hear feedback from students about what you discover as you go through the library, the tools that you think are really helpful and cool. So please reach out to us at any time with any feedback that you have or questions that you have, because this will all keep evolving and keep changing, and we all need to learn together and keep sharing our opinions of them. Okay, so I'm gonna jump back now into, let me make sure I'm sharing. This is a good pause point. If anybody has any questions or if I went through anything a little too quickly, let me know. I'm happy to. We're good on time, so happy to discuss anything further. Where did you find ProQuest? Great question, Denny. Yeah, so let me show you. ProQuest is, and all of our databases, there's many different ways to find them in the library. And for the most part, you might just stumble on ProQuest if you do a library one search, and if the article that you're looking at happens to be in ProQuest. That's probably the most common way you'll find yourself in ProQuest. But if you want to go there directly, the easiest way is to go to Journal Articles. And this is going to give you a list of all the databases in the library where we have journal articles. And ProQuest is our second biggest one. So from there, you can jump right into ProQuest. It's even got my search saved in there for me. I love it when it does that. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But there will also be times where maybe there's an article linked in your course that's from ProQuest, and you just click on the link and you're right there. So keep that in mind. All right, let's jump back into our slideshow. Now, I'm not from the Writing Center. I'm a librarian. I'm not a writing expert, but I did just want to give you a quick preview of some of the AI tools that the Writing Center also has available. These are AI-powered tools. You might be familiar with Grammarly Pro. It's a proofreading tool. It plugs seamlessly into applications like Word documents, and you can get information about Grammarly Pro. Anna dropped a link in the chat if you have questions about it, but it's available right from the landing page when you go to Writing Center and Library. In Canvas, you can find your information about Grammarly there. This is what it looks like. It's just, again, like a side bar that shows up and gives you suggestions on instant feedback on your grammar, punctuation, and writing style. And all UAG students, all UAGC students have access to a Grammarly Pro account. I agree. I am also best friends with Grammarly. It has saved me many times. And it's great. It works for emails too. You can have it proofread your emails. I love it. And AI essay review. This is a new tool, actually, relatively new that we have. It's available through the Writing Center as well. From your Canvas classroom, if you go to submit a paper. And I want to stress, you still have access to the human review, paper review service that we offer. But now you have options. And the difference is the human reviewed paper review, if you go to drop off paper review, that takes about 12 hours to get back to you. It's great. It's a great service, though. I hear so many students just really in disbelief that we offer such a high quality paper review service for free. And you can submit it as many times as you want. You can even submit chapters of your dissertation, like every level it helps you out with. But now we have this AI essay review service, and it's just another option for you to try out. And you fill out the form. It does have a 2,000 word limit, but within minutes, you get really concrete feedback about your work. It definitely doesn't replace the human feedback. I'd encourage you to use both. paper review services that are available to you, but it can really help strengthen your writing and catch issues early. So if you have any questions about those, again, I'm not with the Writing Center, but these are great services that really can help your research and your writing both. So reach out at any time to writing@uagc.edu. We work closely with the Writing Center, and they are fantastic, and they can answer any questions that you have. Now, there are lots of great ways. I'd love to hear in the chat you've used paper review. Yes, that's awesome. So yeah, okay, there are lots of great ways that you can use AI to support your research process without letting it do the work for you. And so now we're going to get more into these like practical ways that you can go outside the library and use some of these tools to really move your research forward. This first example, it shows a really effective starting point for using an AI tool, and that's brainstorming. This prompt here is asking, how can I'd like to research the school lunch program. Can you help me just brainstorm some research questions? And what's nice and what AI does a really good job at is to take a broad topic like that and break it into multiple angles. We've got policy and funding, nutrition and health, equity and access. Um, you know, these tools have seen so many examples of how these topics are organized commonly, so they can really suggest typical lines of inquiry for a research topic, which is very helpful if you're a student who maybe you're just staring at a blank page and you don't yet know how to narrow your research topic into subtopics. So this is just one of the great ways to really use AI to get started in your research topic. At the same time, these are just starting points. They're not finished research questions. You still need to evaluate and refine and potentially make these questions more specific. You might follow up and ask, really try to engage the tool about learning about all the foundational knowledge in your research topic. So now we're moving from a broad prompt to a more focused one. Okay, I think I'm most interested in the policy and funding. Can you tell me a little bit more about the debate about if universal school lunch should be a thing and how those policies differ between state and federal? So again, you're just really building your basis of knowledge. We're not actually doing real research right now. We're just sort of getting our feet wet in the topic. But this is where we start to see how AI can really adapt to additional context, and it starts to organize it into structured overviews of the debate. So you can start to really understand how this topic is discussed, which is going to help you when you get to the database. Now you have some more concrete examples to draw from. And you'll notice they provide links here. Again, never trust what the AI is giving you. This is a very plausible summary. It looks good on the surface, but we're not verifying these sources in real time. It may be oversimplifying things. It may be omitting really important perspectives. So you want to take it all in a nutshell. But it does give you, sort of a broad understanding of the landscape of an issue. It just shouldn't be taken as the final word. Now, one of the most practical ways it can help you is just with keyword generation. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So when you have a research topic like climate change and you're looking for adaptation strategies among small farmers in the United States, it can be a really good jumping off point. If you are just looking for different keywords to try in the database. So describe your research topic the same way you would explain it to a friend, and then ask it to suggest some keywords and see what you get. Oftentimes it just pulls out synonyms similar to what the natural language feature that we saw in the library does, but it can get you thinking about it in a different way. Oops, sorry, just randomly pushed my mouse around. There we go. So yeah, it just gets you breaking it into those core concepts, which will then help when you go to the database and start your research. Again, AI isn't replacing your database search, it's just preparing you for it. So you can mix and match these terms with those Boolean operators and or not to fine tune your results. Now, it can be a place to discover um, organizations that I use it sometimes to find reliable statistics on things. The key is you are not taking statistics from the generative AI tool. It's just pointing you in the direction of figuring out where should I look for this information online. And this returned a really useful list about climate data. And so now my next step would be going to these websites and actually finding the raw data. Um, it's excellent at pointing you in the right direction, but you need to go to the actual source to pull the actual data. Um, Another way you can use it is, just kind of investigating maybe what are some possible gaps in this literature or, just kind of probing your research a little bit further. But remember, it's just making its best guess based on language patterns. It could help you shape your research focus by investigating, the scholarly conversation in one way or another. If these are gaps that you can confirm actually do exist, but you have to be the one to investigate that. Don't just trust what ChatGPT spits out. Okay, so now we have a little fun, just, way to figure out what some students who have turned to generative AI in their research process. Let's discuss about whether or not we think they're using the tool ethically. And I have some just hypotheticals for you to consider. Maya is writing a 3-page summary on a scholarly article for her sociology class. She uploads it to Claude. She asks it to summarize the key arguments and to write a response reflecting their implications. She reads the output. She thinks it sounds pretty good, and she submits it with minor edits. And she does not disclose her AI use. So feel free, if you have thoughts on this, you can drop them in the chat. But I'm wondering if you think this is ethical. Feel free to grab the mic if you have thoughts on this.
Okay. I'll make a note of that. We just we're just asked to usually inform the committee of anything that they sometimes will catch it even before us, but if I see it, I have to make a note of it. So I'll let them know, and then if they have any questions, I'll let you know. Did you
Oh,
want
okay.
to?
Sounds like maybe that is. I couldn't tell if you're answering the question, but it sounds like maybe not. But in the chat, we've got some great responses. Let's see. Yes, and I agree. I don't think this is ethical at all. A bit of a softball question to start us out, but and just thinking there's again just encouraging that moral compass and just thinking about what did she lose out on? When you make a choice like that, you may be saving yourself time, but just thinking about what you lost. I mean, I don't know. I really appreciate all the discussion that happens in our courses here at UAGC, and just all the organic ways that people come to considering a topic and exchanging with one another on it. And it really, I don't know. Yeah, she missed out big on using her own thoughts and writing. Yeah, the learning process, the whole point. What are we here for if we're not getting that key part of the process? And huge, yes, waste of money, huge waste of money if you're not going to learn, right? What are you here for? Oops. Sorry, my mouse has a mind of its own today. Okay, so case number 2. You guys are doing awesome. You guys are great. Case number 2, Wade's beginning a paper on mental effects of social media on teenagers. Doesn't know where to start, asks ChatGPT, and gets an overview. Using that, he develops his own thesis. He searches the library database, and he came up with some keywords, and he uses those to find his sources in the library. But he doesn't cite ChatGPT. So what do we think? Is this ethical? I'm seeing some answers come in, and it seems like you guys all think this is ethical, and I have to agree with you. And this is a question that comes up a lot with students: is when do I know how to cite? And yeah, exactly. Kiara, it's not always straightforward. And I think that's just one of those ways this topic is so nuanced. I mean, he did all his original research. Yes, he used ChatGPT to kind of point him in a direction, but he did his own independent research. So in this case, I would say I don't think he needs to cite it. But I would encourage you, if you ever have any questions about that, check with your instructor. Oftentimes instructors now will even have a disclaimer about what they think are appropriate tasks to use generative AI for and what is not. So if there's any question about that, you can always ask your instructor, and you can always just, maybe it's safe to just cite it or tell your instructor how you're using it. Because again, if you once you start to feel like, oh, would I feel okay citing that I use ChatGPT for this task? Then we're definitely getting close to that line of like, I don't know, is this an appropriate task to use it for? So, yeah, if all else fails, either ask your instructor or just go ahead and cite it. And yeah, I think transparency is key. So Marcus drafted his research paper. You guys are doing great, by the way. Let's see. We're starting to get into some nuance here. He's reviewing his in-text citations before submitting. He pastes one of his paragraphs into ChatGPT and asks whether the citations are placed logically and whether the paragraph flows well. He treats the feedback the way he would treat a peer's comments. He considers each suggestion critically, and he only makes the changes he agrees with. Do we think this is ethical? What do we think about? So he took his writing, and really he's just looking for help with APA, those in-text citations. But ChatGPT gave him some feedback, and now I don't know. Some of us say yes, some of us say no. And there's, oftentimes we all feel differently. We have different comfort levels with some of these questions. And I mean, I think personally, I think he is using this ethically. I think someone mentioned it, but yeah, it's similar to kind of using a tool like Grammarly. Absolutely. And I think if he had any questions about whether he should disclose it or cite it, this would be a great time to ask his instructor about that. Jordan's writing a paper on cryptocurrency and asks Gemini to provide statistics. And Gemini responds with several statistics and what appears to be credible sources. And Jordan includes these in their paper without verifying them. What do we think? No. Good job, guys. You are so on the ball. Uh-oh. Yeah. Jordan, what could you do differently? Where could Jordan have steered clear of this? I don't know. Maybe similar. Yes, absolutely. They could verify the information. They could go to the sites. They could actually see if these statistics were correct. But just trusting it broadly is a bad idea. Okay, I like this one. This one really gets you thinking. Jess is a non-native English speaker writing graduate level reflection paper. She writes a full draft in her own words, and then she asks ChatGPT to flag any sentences that are grammatically unclear. She reviews every suggestion. She accepts some, she rejects others, where she feels like her original phrasing better captures her meaning. She discloses in a note to her instructor that she used an AI grammar tool during revision. Is this ethical? Do we like the way Jess is using ChatGPT here? Yeah, you guys are right. I mean, I agree. I think this is a perfect way to use a tool like that and just, I like the part that I like about this is she doesn't take everything ChatGPT said that she should change. There were parts where she really liked what she had to say, and she kept that in there. And I especially like that she discloses in a note to her instructor that she used an AI grammar tool. And I bet her instructor probably said, "Did you know about Grammarly? You should sign up for Grammarly Pro. It can do it seamlessly in your document for you." So Anyway, thanks for playing along. Those are just some what I thought were really interesting case studies, and you guys did amazing. You give yourselves a round of applause. You really nailed those. I can't stump you at all. You all are experts. Um, but just in case anyone here still feels like they want to take a deeper look, it's a huge topic that we're talking about. We couldn't cover everything today. I just wanted to put some free AI literacy courses that are out there on your radar. These are a great way to learn about these tools more effectively. And these roughly go in order from least complex to more complex. This is actually a government sponsored AI literacy course, and it's all text based. You can sign up for it on your phone. I haven't done it. I'd be curious if anyone here has done it. Let me know what you think. These are some basic ones that, again, they're free elements of AI and learn from scratch. I've vetted both of those. They're great and they're completely free. This Google AI Essentials course, let me just give you a little disclaimer here. Don't be like me. It's free, but you have to sign up for Coursera and you have a free 7-day trial of Coursera, and then you're automatically charged. I could not finish the course in 7 days, completely forgot about it, and I got charged for a Coursera subscription. So don't be like me. Use caution. If you sign up for this one, make sure you cancel. So yeah, just wanted to put those on your radar. We have a lot of additional resources. I'm going to be sending out this whole slide deck. Oh, I do want to put the links to the articles that I mentioned. Thank you, whoever asked for those links. I'll drop them in the chat for you now, and I'll make sure to include them when I send this out. But now I'm going to stop talking because I would love to hear any questions that might come up. And we need to announce our 2 winners for swag. So talk amongst yourselves or ask some questions and we will get back to you with the winners.
Hey, this is V here. With the AI research tools, do you have the option to um talk with it like verbally, or is okay, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't explored that so much myself. I love that question. But I do know some people that really enjoy like having actual conversations. And I don't know. I'm curious. I kind of want to try it out and see what it's like where it talks back to you. I have seen a lot of videos on social media and stuff of people using it that way. So I don't know if anybody here has anyone had a conversation, like actually talking back to their AI.
I do it a lot with Gemini. It's
Oh,
built
cool.
into my phone, so but I'm
Yeah,
much more of an auditory learner. So
love
like
that.
text to speech like is a necessity for me. So if I have the option, that's always what I prefer.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, it helps when you know, how you learn best and that these tools are finding different ways to have people really, make the tool work for them in the way that is most effective. I think that's great. Thanks for sharing, B. All right. So let's see. Any other questions before we announce our winners?
I have a question.
Yes.
I apologize if you went over this earlier. I was having connecting difficulties. As someone who does not use AI within my paper, should I say, like when I have to cite it, how does someone cite using AI in their paper?
Great question. I'm glad you asked that because the Writing Center actually has, and I meant to share it. Anna, if you still have the link, I think it was on the list of links. It's the Writing Center has, so, okay. The question is, how do we cite generative AI if we need to for a paper? And the Writing Center has a link. They have a whole guide on all the ins and outs of AI. Let me get you the link. Let me find it here. Actually, let me show you exactly where I'm going here on the Writing Center, just in case you need to find it at some point. So here I have my Writing Center. They have a whole section now on using AI. Oh, thanks. Anna just dropped it. But there's a whole page on disclosing and citing AI. And this is great. It walks you through some of that nuance about when do I cite AI? I don't know. What's a disclosure statement? So definitely check that out. That will help a ton when it comes to citing within your paper. Great job. Okay. All right. And congrats to, let's see, let's make sure we've got our participants here. All right. And congrats, we've got our two winners, Tamara Davidson, and let's see, let me generate another, Vemarie Garrison. Sorry, V, am I saying your name right?
It's V Marie. Woohoo!
V Marie, I love it. V Marie and Tamara or Tamara. I'm probably pronouncing everyone's name wrong today. Congrats to both of you. Thank you for attending today, and thank you to all of you for being here. So, swag winners, please reach out to support you at. Let me drop the email. Just shoot us an email, and we'll get back to you with your options for swag. And if you can send us your name and address, we'll send it out to you. Any other questions before we wrap up? I'm sorry, I know I still haven't posted those articles here. Here we go. And these were the two articles that they're available in the, one is available in the library, one is open access. And these just highlight some of those now measurable ways that these tools can be affecting everyday life. So there's that. Any last questions? Thank you guys again for being here, and congrats to our winners, Tamara and V.
Thank you so much for putting this together. I
Thanks
always
for coming.
struggle with the research, so I always spend the most time doing that. So I really appreciate that. I never used the AI insights, but I will now that hopefully
Cool.
streamline the process. So thank you.
Yeah, and again, if any questions come up while you're in the thick of research, I know it can be trouble. So just remember, you've got actual humans here as well that can walk you through it. Reach out to us through email, chat, or over the phone. You can even call us. We love it. We love just kind of
Oh,
walking students through. Yeah, our phone hours, we are available Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific time to 5 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're on
okay,
the East Coast,
awesome.
it's like 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And
Mhm.
our phone number is right there on the library website. So just know we're here. We're waiting. We're
Awesome.
just twiddling our thumbs. You can call us right now. All right.
I
Take care,
appreciate that.
everyone.
Thank you. Take care. Have
Yeah.
a great
Thanks for
weekend.
being
Bye.
here. Bye.